to the last one now, using content to build recognition and point of difference. So content is king. That's the term you'll be hearing at the moment. Facts. So this is the big. What's the big thing for 2013? Is $118 billion will be spent on content marketing. So everybody's saying this at the moment. Content marketing is the big thing right now because you're ticking so many boxes. You get credibility, helps with Google. It's, you know, you can follow your database. Content has a lot of applications to it. And people love content, they research, that's why you Google things. It's all about content. And people realizing this is at the heart of online marketing, is the content. And then video marketing is a deliverable of that, and then that ties in with social media as well. So what's the point of updating a status unless you have relevant content? So there's everyone going on to this Facebook stuff, but you look at their content and it's just not relevant. What goes viral is, trying to think of an example. Who wants an example?
I can give you an example.
Yeah.
The people that make the blend, there's a blender.
Yes.
And they put things in the blender, like they put a laptop in the blender.
Yeah.
And then they make a video of that. And it just goes viral. It's like,
Yeah.
It's crazy to watch. You know?
Yeah.
And they make blenders and they just,
blend it, yeah.
They
blend an iPad, an iPhone. They tried to do a crowbar. I saw that one. That didn't do anything.
There's a lot of anti-Tony Abbott stuff going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interest in Napoleon this morning.
Oh, okay.
I got that from 3 different sources.
Yeah. So content is the driver, and it's this kind of what I call kind of like shock content or
wry humour.
Yeah, humour, but then there's informative content as well, how-to stuff. And one of the big things I'm seeing, like I saw in New York, is artists are doing workshops quite often. So they're teaching people. People want to know how to do art. And a lot of photographers doing this in Canberra, take photography. They're now doing photography workshops. You hit 2 birds with 1 stone. You're actually monetizing your skill set, because people pay per head. Plus, you're getting exposure. They come and they become raving fans of your methodologies and style. So it's a form of advertising and viral marketing. So workshops is a part of content marketing. Content marketing is the articles and the videos maybe leading up to that workshop. That's where it's relevant in the online space.
There's a lot of TED talks go viral because it's interesting, informative, people feel like they're learning something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. People, information, people have a thirst for information. And look, there's a lot of it, to be honest with you, there's a lot of crap information on the internet. And that's why it's not just about content, it's about good quality content. So that's probably the disclaimer to this. And then there's that stuff that goes viral because it's funny, which is a great way of getting attention. But a lot of content can be automated, so with opting in, so when someone opts in, there's something called an autoresponder series. So that onlinemarketingadvisor.com.au, which is one of my autoresponders. So when they sign up as a prospect for maybe articles about pottery or whatever your target market, what's relevant to you and your target market, an autoresponder is when they sign up, you can actually preload newsletters and so on. That's becoming quite popular. And then it's, every few days, or a little mini course. People see that quite a lot on the internet. You subscribe, you get a 7-part series, which is exactly what I'm doing. So automation means elimination. So some of the questions with content, or another one is Hootsuite. Has anyone heard Hootsuite?
Yeah. I'm just going to ask a question. Do you know any this kind of apps that can provide automatic posting together with the images? Because here most of us are doing like art and creative.
Yeah.
So images are very important. And those apps only do automatic posting with words, without images.
Yeah, and I did think about this in your, because I think when you look at, there's a product called Hootsuite where you can pre-schedule your Facebook posts. But what I'm finding is a lot of people are using images on their post and they're having some text on it. So because you have more visual product, those images with text, I think that's good because when you look at Facebook, I don't go on there much, but when you look at it, the images do stand out. So when you Hootsuite is basically, just to qualify some of these things I say, is a automated social media posting, so you can do some scheduling for your Facebook posts. And then images are one way of presenting that. So I think images are quite important, but the thing with images, you need it too, because if you're going to put on the Google hat if it's just about images, you're not ranking. So you need images and content together. So words and photos are deliverables of content. Words are more relevant to Google. Photos are more probably relevant to Facebook, grabbing people's attention. So just some quick things. Reviews. What type of content should you be pushing out? Maybe reviews of your new work. You know, a bit of a write-up about it. Pushing it out to your email database and your whatever. Hootsuite pushes it out to all of them, so Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and so on. What's coming up? So, you know, events that are coming up and so on. I think for artists, I think one thing I did see in America a lot more is they're very event focused. So, you know, doing a launch of your latest work and actually using those Eventbrites and those landing pages to get people to register for your event launch. Because at the end of the day, most business is done in the real world, not the internet. So you're using the internet to get real world activity, and that event management stuff like Eventbrite they're great. Advice, so like I said, a lot of it's based on advice, so the word how to, you'll see that a lot. And I think it's great. Like in New York, my wife was showing me some of the different artists, and they're doing these workshops. You know, so people like that. So they're buying you as an artist, they're buying you as an expert as well, and they're coming in and they're engaging with you and they're learning. You know, and then they're going to tell all their friends about you as well. So just to finalise that last one. Find out what's relevant to your target audience in terms of content. So if content is king, what's going to be relevant to them? Come up with a list of content ideas. Come up with ways to use video content, which I think the example you gave would be a great video. Find out how-to advice. So that, like I said, workshops and the DIY thing where people want a hobby is a great opportunity at the moment, changing. But if you keep an eye on the big rocks, the strategy and the key areas, like I said, those things will always be changing. Like, what's the difference between a principle and a practice? A principle is, you know, those things that you need to be unique. You need to get content to people. People want content. You know, what makes you different? You know, landing page concepts, urgency, they're all principles. And now, if I wrote a book on the 10 principles of marketing, I could sell that book in 100 years' time because those things won't change. But if I wrote a book on the 10 practices of internet marketing, it's going to be out of date in the next week. But I think if you keep your eye on the principles and then just keep your eye on the practices, I think more principle marketing is relevant. And just some last stuff about outsourcing. So I think this is a big topic, as people go, well, I can't do all of this. How do I, you know, some people are very lucky to have an in-house marketing manager. A lot of small businesses don't. So I just thought I'd finish things off. So strategy before project. So all of that stuff here, wireframing, that's all strategy, planning, key messages. I'll do that first before I'd actually create a web project. A lot of people just go straight into the project, but they don't actually think of the target market, their messages and so on. Develop a blueprint, so I like to use that term. A blueprint is coming up with that detail. Design is not only a creative skill, it's a very strong emphasis. Good design is important, and we've got a room full of artists, but design is also a science as well. So you need to use both sides of the brain. Finding the right platforms. My best advice is with all of this stuff, we can talk about Hootsuite and all the different platforms all day, but just research them and just do a few trials before you fully commit to them, especially with a content management system. Because once your website's done, you don't change your website for a few years. If you don't like the content management system, you're going to be frustrated and jumping from platform to platform. Consider a communications person for writing content. So if you're not a communicator or getting those messages, work with someone who can help identify those messages. I think that's quite important. Technical, and like I said, technical is not scary, but it's just think of it as a process. You need to know the basics of it, and I think that's where this presentation is good because it gives you a broad view. But you may bring in people as you need that advice. And just lastly, I like to summarise stuff. So let's go to these the big rocks. I like the big rocks because it keeps you on track. So here's just to summarise everything. Part 1 of your web marketing strategy. Don't touch anything until you know who your market is and what your messages are. You know, what makes you unique and different and so on. No point starting anything until you get that right. Part 2. Before you do your website, think of your marketing funnel. What's the conversion process? You know, what are the different, elements you need to incorporate, because that's marketing. Website is a part of marketing. So the marketing funnel is another starting point. Once you understand that part of it, then look at your website. Don't simplify it into just getting a template, and think about those 5 elements of website: messages, copywriting, design, technology, and traffic. You know, and do the research on those 5 areas. Know the difference between a landing page and a website. They're very different. If you want to do marketing, think landing pages. If you're looking at your general base of your business and your forefront, that's your website. Part 4, traffic. Traffic plus conversions is business, so look from those 2 perspectives. Getting traffic. There's no point putting a shopping centre in the middle of the desert, because no one's going to go there. And there's no point having a shopping centre in a populated area if you don't have any sales staff. So you need to look at getting people into the shopping centre, but also once they're in the shopping, this is an analogy, how they then buy. So traffic generation, traffic conversion, and the last one is a content marketing plan. So that funnel is really driven by being able to have regular, continual, systematic, disciplined content plans. So you're building an authority and a credibility with your prospect database. So those are the 5 things. So I hope it was helpful for everyone.